everybody in this group is going to want to talk and answer that question, I'm sure. I'm going to be brief so I can pass it along to a few others. That was one of the most outrageous statements, but it's consistent with at least four other statements she's made in the last few weeks. As you know, some of us in this group led a charge to remove Ms. Cheney as the chairwoman, leader of the Republican Conference. I do not believe she is able to carry that out any further. I also think she's absolutely devoid of any kind of political reading of what's going on in the Republican Party in this country. Right now, in my state, for instance, Donald Trump, were he to run again, would win the primary with something like 78 to 80% of the vote. That's where he stands. If there's no room in the party for Donald Trump, my guess is there's probably no room in the party for somebody who takes the positions that Ms. Cheney does makes the accusations that she does. She should step down. If she had any sense of shame, she would step down. And I know that Mr. Roy wishes to add on to my comments.
You know, I consider Liz a friend, and I stood on the floor with the conference defending her right to defend herself in taking what she described was a vote of conscience. I believe that's important, and so I did so. Yesterday, Liz forfeited her right to be chair of the Republican Conference. You cannot stand up and make a statement that is so completely out of step with the Republican Conference and where the American people who support President Trump are. I think it is unfortunate that she made those remarks. I think it was short-sighted, but I also think it was purposeful, and I think that's the problem. And I think that it is time for us to have another conversation about the leadership of the Republican Conference with respect to what Congresswoman Cheney, who again I consider a friend, said. She shouldn't have said that. She did so purposely, and she did so in a way that directly undermined the conference that she leads. She did so leaving the conference meeting that she had just chaired. When our minority leader, Kevin McCarthy, had just answered the question about CPAC, and then she got the question, she said, well, that should be up to CPAC, but then paused and then launched into a diatribe about the future of where we should go with respect to President Trump, completely unnecessarily, but purposefully. Having just left the very Republican Conference where we were together, and in a way that is in complete opposition to where the majority of the Republican Conference and the majority of Republicans are. So I think we need to have that conversation going forward.
I'll take a stab at this. Can I say one?
Yeah, one more statement, and then we'll take one last question.
I'll be happy to be very brutally honest about this. Liz Cheney and any other Republican that wants to make statements against President Donald J. Trump is a fool. They are disconnected with the base. They're disconnected with Republican voters. Liz Cheney was censured in her state. Adam Kinzinger has been censured. Many of these Republicans that are turning their back on Trump, who they ran on his coattails, have really lost themselves. They don't represent Republicans. They don't represent Republican voters. And the people are speaking out, and they know it. They're feeling the heat, and it's going too far. The Republican Party would be much better off with people that want to move on past 75 million Republican voters that voted for President Trump. And I can't wait for his speech at CPAC on Sunday. It's going to be great. It really is. It's going to be good to hear from him again, because he's been canceled, and that's wrong. Everyone in this country should be against people being canceled. But, you know, the left is okay with it as long as it fits their politics and fits their narratives. But you're not going to cancel President Trump. We'll be happily hearing from him on Sunday. And you're not going to cancel the American people.